Hi and welcome. Today we'll do a really quick 3-year review on Cub Cadet XT2 SLX 50 launch. So XT2s are dealership available only, so you can't just go to a box store and buy an XT2. They're strictly a dealership tractor. These used to be the XT3s were the premium tractor. Now they don't have the shaft drive anymore, the transmissions. So now everything is a belt drive, which is a shame because Cub Cadet was known for being a shaft drive tractor its whole existence until probably about 2 years ago. So the best you can get now is an XT2. There's a couple different XT2s that I recommend, and one of them, so you have the GX series, which is pretty much the top of the line with the XT2s, and so they're going to have the premium tires, these turf tracks, which I love. These tires, they're soft, the shoulders are round, they give a better ride, they get better traction, they're just a way better tire than the cheap turf tires. So the GX series, XT2 GX, you got a 50 and a 54. They both have the same motor. It's a 26 horse vertical, which is basically the same as in my XT3, other than instead of vertical, it's, you know, my XT3 is horizontal, but it's pretty much the same motor otherwise. You have a 50 or a 54 inch deck, and the GX 50 has a K58, which is still technically I call it a yard tractor transmission, so it's good for snow blowing, good for pulling loads, and you can get like all these fast attachments for it, like a sprayer or a carrier. You've got the cabs, chains, weights, the whole deal, so you can still set up an XT2 pretty well for driveway maintenance. With a sleeve hitch on it, you can put a little York rake on or haul a drag around. As far as like garden attachments, other than like a cultivator, you're not going to really do much with a sleeve hitch plow or a sleeve hitch harrow. I mean, they're cute, but they don't do much. So the GX 50, 26 horsepower, 50 inch deck, nice tires, K58 transmission, and you can put the sleeve hitch on it. So pretty good tractor overall. The GX 54 does have a differential lock on it. You still don't get power steering anymore with Cub Cadet, so you have manual steering only, but at least you've got the K62, which is a real garden tractor transmission, so that's a little bit better than the K58, and you can do all the things that the GX50 can, but better. There's a huge raven over in that tree, giant. So the benefit of the 54, I mean, it used to be with the XT3s, you bought the tractor, then you figured the deck that went on it. So now with the XT2s, you get the tractor and the deck, and you may be able to wangle something if a 54 is too big. I personally, here in Maine, unless I lived on some place where it was really flat, I would not want a 54-inch deck, because you're either scalping or you got grass like this or hitting rocks or whatever. So 54 inches are great for some places. They're really not that great around here, so I like 42, 46, 48, maximum 48. But regardless, the 54-inch, the GX 54, you got the K62, traction lock, rear end, all the garden capabilities, and you've got the 26 horse Kohler. So the 26 horse Kohler, pretty loud motor, so you're going to want some hearing protection when you use it, but they're a pretty decent overall tractor. I'm just saddened, I guess, that you can't get a shaft drive tractor anymore with power steering and all the things that Cub Cadet used to have that were great, but Stanley Black & Decker is really trying to push the battery operated tractors right now, and I guess if you've got like a 1/4 acre lawn you mow once a week, you'd be okay. But the dealership where I work with, they had a battery Cub Cadet come in, and it worked fine around the yard, but as soon as you turn the deck on, it would die. So they couldn't figure it out. They couldn't get it straightened out. So it's sitting out back in their junk pile. It's unfortunate, and I think the technology is still young. I think at some point everything's gonna be electric, which, you know, okay, everything's pioneered at some point, so everything's kind of new, you know. But I don't think we're there yet. So if you got a little postage stamp yard, probably a rechargeable tractor may be good for you. But out here in the country, we're mowing a couple acres at least, really hilly, difficult terrain, and I don't think they're going to work very well. So moving on, this right here is an SLX 50, so it's got a fabricated deck, has the 21.5 horsepower Kawasaki. So you can't get the Kawasaki's anymore either. They had problems after COVID getting Kawasaki motors, so they've sourced it from Kohler. You know, I've always been a fan of Kohler. I've had Kohlers forever, and I don't have any problems with Kohler other than the very bottom entry level, like I think it's a Kohler Courage. I stay away from those. Those are renowned for just exploding. So I wouldn't get one of those. But the XT1 46, you know, that has a little bit better Kohler motor in it. So they're all loud, but they're pretty reliable, easy to work on, easy to get parts for a Kohler. But again, this one's the Kawasaki, so it's this one's 3 years old now, about 200 hours, and it goes great. It's a great mowing tractor. The bagger on it's a triple bagger, and you know, just like my initial review on this tractor, I don't like it, and the reason being is there's no blower. So when you get a 54-inch deck and you're cramming material into that chute here, it plugs. And unless you've, in the middle of the summer when everything is super dry and you're mowing, or maybe some dry leaves, but when you're going through in the spring and the grass is kind of wet and heavy, it's not going to go through at all. So I don't like it. I don't like the baggers that don't have an impeller on them. Fabricated deck is great. It's all reinforced around the edges. The wheels are great. They don't flop all over the place. So I think the deck is a really good feature of this tractor. They have the fast attach blades, which if you look at my last video, you'll see that's good and bad. If you take them off every year, they're not too bad. If you take them off in 3 years, they're a little bit of a struggle. So the selling point of this tractor was the dealership. So the dealership is a great dealership. They come out to the house sometimes. They'll take care of their customers. So I think when you shop on a tractor, you want to shop the dealership. Like if you go down to Home Depot and buy a Cub Cadet there, you're going to be last in line at any dealership for your tractor to be repaired. So even though it's a Cub Cadet and it may be a Cub Cadet dealership and they have to repair it, supposedly, you won't be first, you'll be last. So I always recommend going to the dealership to buy the tractor, and it's pretty much the same price. The only benefit to the box stores is if you get a 10% military discount. So that can be considerable, but you may lose that if you don't have anybody to work on it. But a lot of us work on them ourselves, so there's the trade-off. Just be something to think about. Very nice tractors. Mostly, like I said, it's got the good wheels, good tires, fabricated deck. It's a good motor. It's comfortable. It's got armrests. It mows really well. The thing I don't like about it is it has the Tough Torque K46 transmission, which they'll tell you when you buy these tractors. These are flat. These are flat mowing tractors. If you've got hills like this, this is not what you want. The transmissions, they don't like it. They're flat mowing. Slight hills are okay, but don't be hooking lawn rollers on here and haul. I know a guy who hauls wood with this, and I'm like, you're going to be buying a transmission. They're not designed for that. These are lawn tractor transmissions, and you could pull a dethatcher behind it. You could pull a small spreader, pull a small sprayer, but you're not going to want to be like putting a dozer blade on this and pushing out gravel and hauling wood, and you don't want to put a sleeve hitch on it, and you don't want to do those things. You will kill that transmission. It's not what they're designed for. If you use the transmission like it was designed for, like I just said, they'll last forever. They're pretty much, they just go and go and go. So getting 800 hours out of a K46 is not unheard of if you use it that way, like flat land, and don't pull anything. So if you want to pull stuff, you want to bump yourself up to at least the Tough Torque K58 transmission, and even better, that's the K62. So we'll take a look at this a little bit closer, and we'll run it real quick. But I think it's been a good tractor. This is my neighbor's tractor, and I service it all the time, and I sometimes mow the lawn for them with it. So anything that's gone wrong with this tractor, I've been the guy that had to fix it. So let's take a look a little closer at this tractor. LED headlights, they're really tiny. They're fairly bright. I don't ever use lawn tractors at night. Some people, they work and they come home in the winter and early spring or whatever, have to snow blow, and so the lights aren't quite enough. You might want to add some extra lighting, especially like a work light or something. I don't even use the lights. I like them to work, but I don't use them. So it's one of those things that the tractors come with lights, but unless you're like using it at night, they're really not a big deal. Cast iron front axle. Those of you who remember tractors in the 70s, 80s, and even into the 90s, a lot of times they had a steel axle, and sometimes those would bend, and then you just could never get it right again. Has the good tires. I really like these tires. So this is the tread that you want on the tractor. They're like, if you look at the XT1s, you'll see they have the totally different tread on them. These are just such a better ride. It's worth the move up in price to get the better tires on a machine, as far as I'm concerned. Now this transmission, hydrostatic, I love hate. You can't really get confused about what's forward and what's reverse. This is John Deere's like original patent for the hydrostatic transmission. Pretty much everybody uses these now. The bigger tractors, they have a heel toe hydrostatic. So if you're used to the twin touch, or you'd like the twin touch better, this is not the tractor you want. My XT3 does have the twin touch, so go figure. Deck lift, and it's got a spring, and it's easy in the middle and low, but to get it up all the way, you kind of got to put a little bit of arm strength in it. So if you're not a super strong person, you may find that a little bit difficult. Again, the 50-inch fabricated deck. It's got the automotive hub rims on there, so you could put wheel weights on if you wanted to. So here we go with these seats, and like you remember, like the old tractors, so they had a pan seat, or sometimes they just had a really poor, not very comfortable seat to ride on. Like, just these seats now, they're really a premium seat, very comfortable to ride on. very comfortable to use. Get your little cell phone holder, cup holder. So the steering wheel is pretty comfortable to use. There's a little space here to put some stuff. Don't get too used to it because it will vibrate out. Separate choke. I do like the separate choke and throttle. Your hour meters down here, your electric PTO, and the mow and reverse option. It's so easy to use. Whereas like some of the other tractors, you have to hold something out or push something in the entire time you're backing up. This one, you just pretty much do it one time and then you're good to go. But a nice little tractor, good for mowing lawns. It comes with a bumper on the front. You can't get this motor anymore in these tractors. They're all Kohlers. I do like the Kawasaki's. They're a little quieter. They're really easy to work on. I've never had a bad Kawasaki motor. The translucent fuel tank, pretty easy to see exactly how much fuel you got in there. So not a big deal as far as that goes. And your fill is right here. Really easy to fill your tractor up. Some have them on top, some have them on the back seat, but this is right here. And you can see right here how much fuel you have. So we're pretty much empty, but really easy to tell how much fuel you have in this tractor. So to start it, your brake is over here on the left. You can release the parking brake, half throttle, pull the choke out. So the $64,000 question, should you buy a Cub Cadet? I think there's still a quality Cub Cadet out there for you. I think as long as you don't buy the very basic bottom of the line one and expect it to perform like a $10,000 tractor, I think you're okay. Personally, just because of the way I use tractors, I would definitely get the heavier duty transmission, and I would definitely get an XT2, probably the 50, the GX50 or the GX54, and see if you can get a smaller deck on it, which you may or may not be able to do. The GT, the XT1 GT, it's the K58, so it's a little heavier. So I think there's still a good tractor. I just think they've really done a disservice to themselves by getting rid of the shaft drive. So yeah, I would definitely buy from a dealer. I would definitely get a little bit better tractor than the bottom line, and I would definitely use it for the purpose of which it was intended. So take that for what it's worth, and I'll talk to you next time. Appreciate you watching.